Good morning. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller. And today I'm going to do the second half of my What Sold for last week. This would be August 27th through August 29th, which was Friday through Sunday. I've chosen to start separating these out. Most weeks I think I'll do it this way just so that I can spend more time explaining the things that I buy and show you a more variety of things that I sell. If you're new to my channel, I have been selling on eBay for about 22 years. Pretty much most of this time has been as a full-time reseller. I had a moment where I went back to teaching for a little while. I was a special education teacher. And then another point, I just kind of got tired of staying home by myself. I was divorced and wanted just to get out of the house, so I went and worked for the state for a little while. But I always come back to, I think I'm happiest when I'm self-employed. And I'll just leave it at that. So I'm going to show you some examples of stuff that sold last weekend. I'll go ahead and start here. This first item is a BabyRS elephant plush. Sometimes when I find stuff that I don't see any comps on, I'll set my price a little bit high and just kind of feel the market out. And this had been listed a little while, so I got a best offer of $20 and I went ahead and accepted it. $20 is not bad for a stuffed animal. These are some steel-toed boots that we picked up at some point. I want to say these were the ones that we picked up for $1 at a yard sale. And I went ahead and took a best offer of $15 for them. They are high-test safety boots, size 11. And they definitely had some wear. This I showed in a recent haul. It was a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern light that you could set in a window. I tested it and it did work, and I ended up taking a best offer of $10. And the person, bless his heart, sent me a message saying, please pack this. He says, I'm so tired of receiving packages in bubble mailers and the items are just destroyed. And then he has sent me another message saying, thank you. It got here safely. And then he left me wonderful feedback. So I always am of the mind that if whatever you're packing it in, if it got sat on or heavy stuff gets put on it, is it going to survive? So, of course, something like this definitely would have been placed in a box with ample padding, but obviously not everybody thinks that way, and he had received something similar in a bubble mailer. Don't. This is a curriculum that we picked up at a local thrift store. I bought a whole pile of stuff, and he and I dickered back and forth, and we ended up settling on $35 for the whole pile, and I have already made that money back. I did sell this foreign language curriculum for best offer of $20. These are some boys' Levi jeans that I did sell recently. Well, last weekend. My brain just kind of went. We have been selling quite a bit of clothing items now, about one a day. We've got about 200 items listed, and I think that's about norm as far as when you don't have as much listed. But I ended up selling these jeans for best offer of $12. This week I have decided I'm going to process more clothes than other items because we've got so much that I think needs to get listed, and I'd like to get up to about 1,000 listings of clothes soon-ish. Here, I'm the one that does all the listings. My husband helps me with pictures and shipping and sourcing, but listing is my thing. So I do most of the processing, which is the pictures and the descriptions and everything for non-clothing. But for clothing, I do the listings and the measurements and everything. And then he helps me with everything else, and he wraps my breakables. These next two items we bought at, when we were at the bins. So somebody had dropped off a whole bunch of these Wagner and Son, John Wagner and Sons empty tea tins. And I just decided to list each one because as a collector, they may be searching for just a specific flavor. So I did list these, almost all of them for like $6.95. I based it on comps, so some were more. But I ended up taking a best offer of $5, and this person had bought 2 of them. He bought the English breakfast, and these are like this big, itty bitty tins. And then he bought this Jasmine Tea. So I don't mind listing things individually when it's collectibles like this. And even though $5, I mean, I probably had 10 cents in them because they were just empty little tins. This I featured, I think in one of my last haul from my online auction, my high bid auction that I won a whole bunch of stuff on. I think it was 130 some lots of mostly stuffed animals. But this is a Campbell Soup Dalmatian dog. The little bandana that it has around its neck says Campbell Soup on it. I sold it within an hour of listing for full price of $29.95. This is a Kelly Toy Lovey. I'm showing this. I took a best offer on it of $16, but a lot of times, as far as Loveys are concerned, if it has these knotted corners, sometimes they seem to sell more. So I just wanted to give you this example, but this was just a little Lovey, and I don't remember. I know I picked it up at a yard sale, so I probably paid 50 cents or $1 for it. My husband picked up a whole, like 3 totes of just geotracks, trains and tracks and buildings and stuff. And I have sold almost all of the remotes already, and I think some of the tracks. But I ended up selling this set of the remote controls for $31.45. So I'm way, he paid $45 for all of it, and I'm way into the hundreds now. So geotracks is still very popular. This is a large lot that I sold. They bought 6 plush. I think 4 of them specifically was from my online auction. But they ended up paying $87 for the 6 plush. And it was this Quick Rabbit, an Oshkosh Bear, Sesame Street Big Bird, a Snuggle Bear, these Hershey Candy Bars plush. Several of these were just in that last online auction haul. And then 3 little Shoney bears. So I like when people make me multiple offers like this, and then you just put them in a box and send off a combined invoice, and everybody's happy. And I've sold to this person quite a few times. I'm not, they may be a collector or they may be a freight forwarder. I'm not quite sure. This is a Play School Magic tea set. I want to say I picked these up for $2 or $3 from a yard sale recently. It was missing 1 cup and 1 plate. But this is a highly, if I had it complete, I probably would have sold it for double. But I ended up taking a best offer. No, I didn't. I always say that. $22.45 for this set. But if you put like hot water or ice water in it, the cups changed colors. These are some Levi's women's jeans. They are the 10912. I'm getting a quick lesson on all the different types of Levi's. But these were vintage and they were cotton. They're not the cotton blend. And I ended up selling them for best offer of $25. And like I said, a lot of these jeans, we're paying $2 or less for most of them. Every once in a while, a little more for some of the more expensive ones, for lack of a better word, like Miss Me jeans and stuff like that. I picked this up at a thrift store in a local town. I think I paid either $5 or $8 for her, but she had this accessories that you see in the picture here, but there were more, and come to find out it was something that didn't even really go with her. So I separated it out, and I've already sold it for quite a bit of money, but I can't remember. It was called a RubaDub Dog. But I ended up selling her now also for $35.95. So I want to say I made $60 or $70 on just her and then the other lot. But I definitely like the vintage stuff. This is another dish set that I decided to split up and sell per piece. This was Wedgwood Quince. We picked it up at I think it was at an estate sale, and I want to say we either paid $60 or $75, but it was a table full. And I sold to this person, they bought 8 bowls and they paid $78.88. And I have been selling quite a bit of this, so we are way into profit on it. This is the Petting Zoo brand plush. I picked them up. They don't sell for a whole lot, but again, nice quality, and they move. And I ended up selling him for $8.05. Again, I usually pick up a lot of this type of stuff at the bins where I'm paying by the pound anyway, so I probably wouldn't even paid a quarter for him. This is Kids 2 Frog plush. When you squeezed him, he said a little prayer in a child's voice. I picked these up. A lot of people like to buy this type of stuff as baby gifts. So, but I usually will only list this type of stuff if it's really, really clean. So, because it's going to be going to a kid, and you can't wash these ones that have the voice in them. So I just do my normal steaming, and then I list. But I ended up selling this for $11.66. And yes, I'm going to get a cleaning video out. It's like one of the next things on my agenda. I talked about these already in the What Sold video I just finished, and then these were all featured in last week's What Sold. I picked up a huge tote or box full of McDonald's older Happy Meal buckets for Halloween, and I have already probably made $50 to $60 just on 4 buckets, and then I did end up selling this one for best offer of $12 also. This is a Mattel Little Mermaid playset. I picked, I want to say $1 or $2 at a yard sale. It was complete with the little oars and everything. I sold it for best offer of $16, and I just wanted to point out, a lot of times when I have these type little figures, I also put at the end of my description or my title, cake toppers, because a lot of people like to buy these to put on birthday cakes when it's a themed birthday. So just if you've got Blue's Clues or anything like that, just throw, if you've got room, just throw cake topper at the end, because you'll get a whole other group of people who are looking for this type of stuff. I just picked these up because they were cheap. I want to say I paid $1 for them, but I noticed that they were Nike, of course, but they were dated 2005, and I'm not even sure if this is something you can still buy, but I went ahead and listed them and took a best off. No, I didn't. I sold it for $12.55, and it's just those little wristbands. This is a Kelly Toy Llama plush that I did sell. It did sell for the $13.45, but it just seems like Llama, anything I list that's Llama sells. It must just be a popular character that people like to buy. This is a puzzle that I picked up probably at a yard sale or at the bins. So I wouldn't have paid very much, but I ended up taking a best offer of $15 for it. It was sealed and new. more brass. I'm still selling quite a bit of it each week. I've got quite a bit I still need to list, but I ended up selling this for best offer of $24 for this pair of candle holders. And on every one of them, I wipe them down, but for the most part, I list on there somewhere from display storage, and then I'm leaving all cleaning to the buyer, because I don't want to polish this if that person didn't want to get it polished, and I don't want to spend the time to do it if they don't want. You know, it's up to them if they want to clean it more, make it shiny, but I've been putting that on all of them and just giving them a wipe down. These are Rodney Reindeer Plush from Hallmark. There were some that were released through, I think, Hardee's, but they were also released by Hallmark. I picked them up all the time, and I sold just these two together. They did have their tags for $17.95. But you see these always, they're in the Christmas sections of yard sales and thrift stores. I guess they came out during a Christmas season. But they sell for a lot, and there's, I think, 4 or 5 different characters. Rodney and Ramona and Randy, and I can't think of the other girl. My husband picked this up at an estate sale. I want to say he paid $1 or so for it, but it was just a book on wizards, giants, and trolls, just something unique, and I ended up selling it for $8.96. I want to look for more books. I know there's lots of people out there that sell books and chapter book sets, and it's just, right now I have allotted like 3 baskets for curriculum and books. So I'll have to make more space if I decide to do that, but I would like to start at maybe this next yard sale season to look for more children's books, chapter book series, because I think there's a lot of money to be made in them. This was a cup I've had for a while. I picked it up at a church yard sale. I want to say it was like $1 or 50 cents, but I've had it a while. It is by Precious Moments, and it was just cute because it's a snowman doing a headstand is how the cup is set. It did have its tag here, but I ended up selling him for best offer of $10. I showed her in the haul from my online auction. This was a Little Debbie vinyl doll from 1984, and I sold her within the week of listing her for best offer of $16. This is an example of FisherPrice Little People. I bought a set of them. I don't think the set was complete, but a lot of times with some of these more unique kit sets, I will split them up into individuals because a lot of people like to replace ones, or they're only collecting the animals, or they're only collecting the figures before 2000 or after 2000. But a lot of times, if they're unique and harder to find play sets, I will sell this separately. And I did with this one. And this is the elk from the camping set, and I did sell him for best offer of $7. This is just another curriculum example. I picked this up at a local thrift store, and I did end up selling this for $17. If you're out at yard sales, and Apologia is one of them, is like the science homeschool curriculum that a lot of people use, and then Saxon is the math one. If you see them and they've not been written in and they're clean, definitely do the comps on them because they're very popular and they don't sit around. They sell quite quickly. Or like I showed an example of Matthew C. That's another big one that a lot of homeschoolers use. We homeschool, if you wonder. We've got one left. This is a Lego Mario set. I picked this up at Finders Keepers. The box was opened, but it was complete. So I picked it up for $1, and I ended up selling it for the $8.05. These, I bought out, okay, I went to an estate sale probably last year, and yes, because we were masked, and somebody had a boutique that sold vintage clothes, and I bought a couple of pieces from there, but I was paying $4, $5, and $8 a piece for the items. And then when the estate sale was done, they did an online auction for the remainder. Well, I won all the rest of the boutique clothes, which was like one of those round circular things that had hangers all the way around it. I don't know how many pieces it was. Several garbage bags full, but I won it for $5. Nobody else bought. So this is one of the pants that was in there. This is an infant vintage Levi's. So I went ahead and did an auction last week for $9.99. There was also a Lee's brand vintage pair that was, I think, toddler size. It didn't get a bid, but this one ended up selling for $20.50. I picked this up somewhere. I think I paid $1. I bought it at the Goodwill bins the last time I went, so it wasn't even $1. It was paid by the pound. But this was Sanrio Bats Maru. I Google lensed him. That's the only reason why I knew who he was. There weren't anything like it on eBay, so I went ahead and put a $50 price on it, and when my store went on sale the next week, it sold for the $44.95. And then this, I want to say I bought last year at a yard sale. I bought several things. It was a bundle, so I think I paid $20 for all of these. It was a Santa, an animated Santa and Mrs. Santa, and I think another, so there was like 4 of them, so about $5 each. But I did end up selling this this past weekend for the $35.95. But it's just this little electric thing, and I think they played music and just Christmas songs. So I do test everything, and I take a video of it, but I haven't quite figured out how to post a video. I know there's YouTubes out there on it. I haven't taken the time, but I need to, because I think things would sell quicker if you actually had video of it working on eBay. Now Facebook has just added that feature right in with their pictures, that you can post a video right with their your listings on Facebook, but eBay hasn't gotten to that yet. I've heard it's in the makings, that they're going to make it easier, and maybe I'll just wait for that. All right, the next 3 things that sold were from Facebook, and then I actually had another Bonanza sale. So this is another GeoTrax remote. It did sell on Facebook Marketplace for $28. This is Lego Galador. Now, a lot of these there were some that came out in McDonald's sets back in the early 2000s. A lot of these are actually from my own children. We used to I kept totes, Lincoln Logs and Tinker Toys and this type of stuff, and Legos, and I've been slowly but surely going through their old stuff, because my baby is 16, and the one that would have bought this for is now 21. So it's time to start getting rid of the kitty stuff. But I just hold on to it for a little while longer. But this is Lego Galador, Defenders of the Outer Dimension. You could mix and match the body parts. And I even stated in there that I'm not even sure if all of them are complete, but it was a nice large lot, and I ended up selling it on Facebook for $42. And this last item, I had just cross-listed this to Facebook Marketplace. It's been on eBay for a couple of weeks. I picked it up at the last consignment sale that I went to, and it sold immediately for $17. And then my last sale was on Bonanza, And this is a Christmas decoration kit that you could make. These little kids could make just little decorated balls for the Christmas tree. I picked this up at Finders Keepers. I actually have 4 of them, so I paid $1 for it, and it sold on Bonanza for $13.45. All right, that's it for last weekend. Sales are still steady for me. I'm hoping that it's going to pick up here real soon and start showing fourth quarter boom. But please, if you're new to my channel, I'm kind of new at this, so you know, I'd like to get my numbers built up. So please like and subscribe and share with your friends and try to get my numbers boosted for me. I appreciate all the comments. I've been a little bit behind getting to them after I already said I try to get to them every morning, but it's just been crazy busy here. So I do appreciate everybody who watches and follows me, and it keeps me encouraged on doing this, because, you know, it's just another part of my day that I have to try to slice some time to do. Luckily for me, I don't have to do the editing. My poor husband's actually upstairs right now trying to get out the next video for today. So, you know, I just gotta sit in front of the camera and not say too many things that he has to chop out. But thanks again. Bye.